Episode 14, Kings of the Way. Every neighborhood had legends. Not the kind you saw on television. Not the kind people wrote about in history books. The kind you saw in real life. People whose names carry weight when they walk down the street. People whose presence made other people move a little differently. Speak a little quieter. Think a little harder before saying the wrong thing. In Terrace Gardens, those names were Manny and Malik. Two brothers, two completely different personalities, but together they ruled the block. You usually notice Manny first, mostly because you heard him before you saw him. That candy-painted green Impala rolled through the courtyard slow like an on the pavement. Chrome spinners turning in the sunlight, bass vibrating through the apartment buildings. Kids would literally stop their basketball game just to watch the cargo pass. Manny stepped out fresh every time. Clean sneakers, gold chain shining in the sun. Confidence that looked effortless, like the whole neighborhood was a stage he had already mastered. And in a lot of ways it was. Nobody voted him into that position, but everybody respected him. Manny wasn't just the biggest hustler around the way. He was also the person people came to when life started falling apart. Electric bill short? Manny might slide someone a little money. Somebody car break down? Manny knew a mechanic. Kids needed basketballs for the court? Manny showed up with 3 of them. That was the confusing thing about street legends. Sometimes the same person people warned you about was the same person helping the community survive. Dre leaned against the Impala one afternoon watching Manny talk to someone near the trunk. "That man living life," Dre said. Peanut nodded. "He got 3 girls waiting in the car." JoJo squinted towards the back seat. 4. Sure enough, 4 girls were laughing in the passenger seats. Manny lived flashy, but nobody called him fake, because no matter how much money he made, he never pretended he wasn't from the neighborhood. Then there was Malik. Malik didn't need an Impala. He didn't need jury. He didn't need to talk much. Malik's reputation spoke for him. Tall, quiet, always watching everything around him. And Manny was the face of Terrace Gardens. Malik was the shadow behind it. People told stories about Malik across the city. Stories about fights, stories about nights nobody could talk about in the daylight. Stories about people who crossed the wrong line and never tried it again. Nobody knew which stories were true, but the rumors alone were enough. Peanut whispered one day while watching them across the court, "They say Malik walked into a whole house full of dudes by himself once and walked out alive." JoJo shook his head. "People say anything." Malik leaned against the Impala quietly, not reacting, not correcting anything, just listening. And somehow the silence made the rumors feel even more real. But before Manny became the neighborhood king, there was a time he tried something else. Music. Back when he was about 21, Manny started rapping seriously. Studio sessions, mixtapes, freestyles in a parking lot. He had a slogan for everything. The real big terrorist. That was his brand. Because in Manny's mind, if someone was going to represent Terrace Gardens, he had to be somebody who never left it. Which meant there was one rapper he didn't respect at first. Slim Vicious. Slim Vicious had grown up right there in Terrace Gardens too. But once he got famous, he moved away. Started talking about the whole city instead of just the way. Manny hated that. "He forgot where he came from," Manny said one night, sitting on the hood of an Impala. "He's supposed to represent Terrace Gardens." Dre nodded and said, "You should diss him." Manny smiled. "Already did." The freestyle spread around the neighborhood fast. People played it from the car speakers. Phones passed it around. For a minute, it looked like something serious might stop. But then Slim Vicious came back for a hood day, and something unexpected happened. The two of them talked behind the community center. 20 minutes. Nobody heard what they said. Nobody got the story. But when they walked back out, they were laughing. Slim Vicious slapped Manny on the shoulder. Manny nodded. And whatever tension existed stayed there in that conversation. Manny never blew up with music. He never left Terrace Gardens. But he never stopped being who he was either. The biggest hustler on the block. Later that evening, I sat on the stoop writing while Manny and Malik talked near the Impala. The sun was dropping behind the buildings. The basketball court was still full. Music drifting through the courtyard. Malik said something quietly. Manny laughed. Then Manny noticed me watching. "You writing again?" "Yeah." "What you writing about?" "Just stories." Manny nodded slowly. "Make sure you tell the truth." "About what?" "About the neighborhood." Then he leaned against the car. "People outside think they understand a place like this, but they don't." Malik glanced at me briefly, just for a second, then looked back towards the street. Manny smiled. "Write about the good and the bad." I nodded. "I will." But something inside me felt complicated, because legends like Manny and Malik were real, but so were the consequences of the lives they lived. And sometimes the same people kids admired were the same people living lives nobody should have to survive. That night I sat by the window again with my notebook. The courtyard lights buzzed. Manny's Impala rode slowly out the parking lot, Malik in the passenger seat. The two brothers disappeared into the night like they always did. Then I started writing in my journal. Every neighborhood has kings, but not every crown is worth wearing. Some crowns come with respect, some come with fear, and sometimes those two things look the same until it's too late. Maybe real leadership isn't about controlling the block. Maybe real leadership is about building something that lasts longer than your reputation. Because every legend eventually fades, but the choices people make while chasing that legend stay behind for the next generation to live with. Episode 14, Kings of the Way.